I never thought I'd be telling this story, but here I am. 7 years of my life, gone in an instant. The woman I loved, the future I planned, all turned to dust because of lies that spread like wildfire. My story with her began like many others. We met, fell in love, and built a life together. From the start, she was open about being bisexual, sharing stories about her past relationships with both men and women. It never bothered me. If anything, I appreciated her honesty. That's what our relationship was built on, or so I thought. We weren't the kind of couple that made headlines. No dramatic fights or passionate reconciliations. We were steady, comfortable, like a warm fire on a cold night. Sure, we had our little disagreements. She'd leave dishes in the sink, I'd work late without texting, but we always worked things out. Late-night talks over coffee or early morning walks in the park near our apartment became our way of sorting through life's small bumps. Living together brought its own rhythm. Every Saturday morning, we'd hit the farmer's market. She'd make a beeline for the fresh flowers while I'd grab our favorite sourdough bread. Evenings found us in our cozy kitchen, her trying out new vegan recipes while I played taste tester, or both of us curled up on the couch, binging shows and discovering new music together. After serving in the military, finding someone who understood my struggles wasn't easy. The nightmares, the quiet moments when memories would flood back, she handled it all with grace. She became my anchor in civilian life, helping me find my footing when everything felt strange and unfamiliar. 7 years passed this way, building a life brick by brick in our two-bedroom apartment filled with her plants and our framed photos. We were solid emotionally, financially, just everything. So when I decided to propose, it felt natural, like the next logical step in our story. I spent weeks planning the perfect proposal. The ring was simple but elegant, just her style. I chose the small art gallery where we had our first date, arranged everything under the guise of a new exhibit. Standing beneath her favorite painting, a vibrant abstract piece that always lit up her eyes, I got down on one knee. She hesitated, just for a moment, but I noticed. Then came the yes, soft and almost whispered. That hesitation should have been my first warning, but I was too caught up in the joy of the moment to see it. The next few days were a blur of congratulations and wedding discussions. Our friends were ecstatic, tossing around ideas from beach ceremonies to destination weddings in Italy. But something felt off. Her parents' reaction was strange, forced smiles and quick glances away when I looked at them. When I asked her about it, she brushed it off, saying they were just surprised and would come around. Looking back, there were so many signs I missed. The way she'd changed the subject when wedding plans came up, how she'd grow distant during conversations about our future. But love has a way of blinding you to the obvious, doesn't it? Then came that day. I walked through our front door after work, expecting to find her in her usual spots, the kitchen or curled up on the sofa with a book. Instead, she stood by the door, a suitcase at her feet. My heart dropped before she even opened her mouth. I'm not bisexual, she said, her voice steady but distant. I'm lesbian. My parents have known for 2 years. Please don't make this difficult. Just let me leave. Just like that, she walked out. No explanation for the lies. No real goodbye. 7 years reduced to a few sentences, and the sound of our front door clicking shut. The silence that followed was deafening. The next 3 months were the hardest of my life. Complete silence. Not a single text, call, or message from anyone. She blocked me the day she left, and suddenly, it felt like I'd been erased from everyone's lives. Even her parents, who'd smiled across countless Sunday dinners at their home, acted like I never existed. What hurt more was watching it all unfold on social media. Post after post celebrating her bravery and authenticity. Everyone praising her journey of self-discovery, while I sat alone in an apartment full of memories, feeling like a ghost in my own life. Each supportive comment, each congratulatory message was like a knife twisting deeper. My health took a nosedive. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Ended up in the hospital 3 times in those 3 months, just lying there with 4 drips while kind nurses told me to take it easy. The hospital staff showed more concern than the people I'd called friends for 7 years. Funny how strangers can sometimes be kinder than family. Work became my lifeline, the only thing that kept me going. I dragged myself there each morning, grateful for the distraction, only to return home to an apartment that felt too big, too quiet, too full of what used to be us. Every corner held a memory I couldn't escape. Then one night, everything changed again. My phone lit up with a name I hadn't seen in months, Paul, one of our old friends. My stomach twisted as I answered, not sure what to expect. Hey, he started, sounding uncomfortable. I saw your post. The one about what happened. Man, we didn't know. She told us a completely different story. My heart started racing. What do you mean? She told everyone that when she came out, you lost it. Said you tried to hurt her, threatened her if she left. She made us all promise not to contact you, said you were dangerous. The room spun as his words sank in. Not only had she left, but she painted me as some kind of monster. The isolation, the silence, the way everyone disappeared, it all made horrible sense now. We pressed her about it after seeing your posts, Paul continued. She broke down and admitted she lied. Said she was scared of losing us as friends if we knew the truth. Vindication should have felt better than this. Instead, it just opened up a new kind of pain. How could she do this? How could everyone believe her so easily? 7 years of friendship meant nothing against her lies. Messages started flooding in after that, friends apologizing, saying they should have known better, should have at least heard my side. Even her current girlfriend reached out, confused and hurt. Turned out she'd known about me only as an ex-roommate, another lie in the growing pile of deceptions. In a moment of raw emotion, I created a group chat with everyone involved, her girlfriend, Paul, all the friends who'd abandoned me. I laid it all out there. Told them I wasn't ready to forgive, that I'd even considered legal action for defamation. Asked them how not one person thought to check my side of the story before believing the worst about me. Then I blocked them all. New numbers kept popping up, friends trying to apologize, strangers they'd recruited to pass messages, endless calls and texts that made my phone feel like a ticking bomb. Every notification sparked anxiety, turned my ringtone into a trigger that set my heart racing. The exhaustion of it, the betrayal, the lies, the constant messages, finally drove me to therapy. I walked into that quiet office thinking I just needed help dealing with a breakup and the fallout with friends. I had no idea what was really waiting to surface. As I sat there in that softly lit room, everything I'd been holding back came rushing out. Not just about her, but about everything. Losing my parents, my sister, the struggles of coming back from military service. Years of buried grief and trauma that I'd never properly faced. I broke down completely, sobbing in a way I hadn't allowed myself to in years. For the first time since she left, I didn't feel alone with my pain. I started therapy hoping for a quick fix, like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. I thought a few sessions would help me process the betrayal and move on. But sitting in that same chair week after week, watching the city life pass by through the window, I began to understand this wasn't going to be a simple healing process. Each session peeled back another layer of pain I'd buried. The therapist's office became the one place where I could let everything out, the anger, the confusion, the deep sense of loss that went beyond just losing her. I cried more in that office than I had in years. Sometimes it was about her lies, sometimes about my parents or my sister, and sometimes I didn't even know what I was crying about anymore. The hardest part was realizing how much I'd built my life around her after losing my family. When my parents died and then my sister, the world became this tiny, dark place. Then she came along like a fresh breeze, making everything brighter. I poured everything into our relationship, every dinner cooked, every surprise planned, every moment spent making sure she felt loved and cherished. She wasn't just my partner. She was my chance at having a family again. That's what makes the betrayal cut so deep. She knew everything about me, my fears, my hopes, the nightmares that still wake me up some nights from my time in service. She knew how hard it was for me to trust after losing everyone, and she still chose to not just leave, but to destroy my reputation, to make me out to be some kind of monster. Her parents reached out recently, asking me not to sue their daughter. They tried to justify her actions, saying she was just scared. It's funny, we never got along well. They always said I wasn't right for their daughter. Now they're trying to protect her from the consequences of her own lies. I wasn't surprised, but it still stung. The therapy sessions are teaching me about grief, not just the obvious kind that comes with death or breakups, but the subtle grief of losing trust in people, losing faith in your own judgment. Some days are better than others. Sometimes I can talk about my sister without breaking down, or think about her betrayal without that dark anger rising up. Being back in the dating world feels impossible right now. The thought of trusting someone again, of letting them see all the broken pieces and trusting them not to use those pieces as weapons, it's terrifying. My therapist says that's normal, that healing isn't linear. Some days you feel strong, ready to take on the world, and others you're right back in that moment when everything fell apart. The military taught me about brotherhood, about having each other's backs no matter what. Maybe that's why the friend's betrayal hits almost as hard as hers. In the service, you learn to trust your life to the people around you. Coming home, I tried to build that same kind of trust with my civilian friends. Look how that turned out. These days, I'm trying to focus on the small victories. Getting through a day without checking her social media. Sleeping through the night without nightmares. Learning to cook for one without feeling that empty space across the table. It's not the life I planned, but it's my life now. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever understand why she did what she did. Why she couldn't just be honest. Why she had to create such elaborate lies. But I'm starting to realize that maybe understanding isn't the point. Maybe the point is learning to live with the uncertainty, with the knowledge that sometimes people we trust completely can still hurt us deeply. The apartment still feels too quiet sometimes. There are still moments when I reach for my phone to tell her something funny, only to remember she's gone. But those moments are getting less frequent. The pain isn't gone, but it's changing, becoming something I can carry without being crushed by it. I'm not ready to forgive, not her, not the friends who believed her lies so easily. Maybe I never will be. But I'm learning to live with what happened, to build something new from the ashes of what I thought my life would be. It's not the story I wanted to tell, but it's my story now, and I'm the only one who gets to decide how it continues. The future I plan may be gone, but maybe that just means there's a different future waiting to be discovered. One day at a time, one therapy session at a time, I'm finding out who I am without her, without the dreams we shared, without the family I thought we'd build. It's not easy, but I'm still here. Still standing. Still fighting. And maybe that's enough for now.